Let's get into this.
We've never done a Q&A like this.
No.
And
it's going to be raw. It's going to be honest. It's going to be different, deep. It's all about relationships and marriage. There's so much that we can go into.
And there's so much that we're still learning.
We got to get some things on the table first.
No one's perfect, so I think that that's just a disclaimer. Like, we're not doing this because it's like, we have a great marriage, we're going to talk to you about advice.
Right.
We're doing this because a lot of people ask us questions, and this would be a good opportunity for Jared and I to share some things that work and maybe talk about a few things that we get flustered with.
Absolutely. There are going to be some things that we're not good at, some things that you're great at, some things that you could learn some things from. You know, everything has to be taken with a grain of salt. It might not work for you, may not work for us, and vice versa. So I went through 1,400 questions.
Whoa.
Yeah, I went through all of them, and a lot of them had some very similar themes. And so I took those questions, and we're going to be trying to go through some of those themes, but they all blend together. So this is going to be more of like a conversation while we're answering some questions too.
Yes.
So should we get to it?
Yes.
Just so we're clear, I think this is kind of more like a podcast feel.
Yeah.
And so this might be a longer video, so grab a snack and a drink and let's go for a ride.
Go to the bathroom real quick.
But I feel like we should kiss beforehand because this is a relationship video, so maybe...
We actually just did. Now he wants to do it for you guys.
I just like to kiss you. Mwah. Okay.
Okay.
First question. If you could give one piece of advice to a newlywed couple, what would it be? I have advice that I give all the time. Do you have anything that you would...
I'll let you go first.
Okay. It's advice that I've been given before, and I've kind of carried it with me. And it's that selflessness is the key to a happy marriage. And it's a two-way street. If you and your partner are both selfless, thinking of each other first, then the happiness that you're giving is also the happiness that you're receiving.
Because you're both giving.
Yeah, exactly. But if one person stops being selfless, then it's broken. So it's hard, but once you have that,
and that's so
works.
Natural. Like, it's natural to be like, oh, I need help doing this, and like kind of be a little selfish one day. And so it's always good to go back. That's like why you always have sit downs. That's why you talk. Maybe that's why you pray. Like, I love that advice.
I think serving your spouse is one of the best ways that you can show affection and love. And that's something I have to work on. Would you agree?
We are continually, every day. And we will do that for the rest of our lives until we die. We will. I would say my piece of advice for a newlywed person, and I'm telling myself this, if I were to go back 8 years and give myself advice, I would say before we got married, to talk about finances. And sex. That's what I wish we would have done more. We did talk about that, not a lot, but I wish we would have even more.
Yeah, I totally agree, because
what do you expect? What are your, how do you do your finances?
Right.
Are you okay having credit cards? You know, that kind of stuff, just everything.
We found that a lot of arguments in marriages come down to finances and intimacy. Being on the same page with those things.
Everything.
Can solve a lot of arguments. Did you have any serious relationships before each other? For me, I wouldn't say I had.
We're like,
I definitely didn't have like as serious. Like, I dated, but none of the people that I were dating, I was considering marriage.
The month before Jared and I really, really knew we liked each other, we actually texted quite a bit.
It was November, right?
That month, Jared and I had stopped calling, stopped texting, and it wasn't like we were upset or anything. We just did it. And I was still in school, and so I just knew, like, you know, he's just like, you know, doing his thing, I'm doing mine. But Jared actually took that month off. I didn't know this until we had talked after we officially hooked up. But Jared took that month off because he thought, I really like Ellie. I need to go a path. Tell me if I'm wrong. And I want to make sure that there is no feelings or relationship with this other person. So he took that month off to try and see if there was anything there with that person.
Yeah, I needed to make sure that the feelings that I had for Ellie were... wasn't the direct focus, my main attention, and they were.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you did that.
Yeah.
Like, that was good. What were we talking about?
Serious relationships before us.
Serious relationships. I dated a few people that I felt like I really liked, but as far as like serious relationship, like possible marriage, I would say there was one where he was. This is hard because I was in high school, so it sounds so crazy, but it was.
I know. Well, it even sounds, when you say that, it sounds kind of weird to me, but at the time it didn't.
It wasn't weird.
Yeah.
I would say I had a serious relationship before Jared.
What are your favorite budget date night ideas or your favorite date night in when you don't have a babysitter?
We do a lot of date night ins. We don't get, I guess I don't know. I don't feel like we get babysitters a whole ton. If we get them, it's actually usually for like lunch dates. I really enjoy doing that more so than dinner because we like putting the kids to bed.
Obviously, we like watching our shows and everything, but when I think of like a date night in, I kind of like think the whole family, and making a blanket for it and watching a movie is like my favorite thing to do with the kids.
Even though Jared and I do this often, it really is a date to us. We always get a drink and a snack and we take a bath together.
Yes.
And that really is a time that like we just sit, we talk about whatever we want. And we often try not to talk about like work or kids. Like it's like we're just talking about us and the tub and how we're feeling and what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's like a date.
It is like a date because it is a very, it's intimate, it's alone time, and you're focusing on each other. And I think that's kind of the whole point of that is to converse and to, have a check-in with your spouse. And that's always something that we enjoy is conversations. Did the infertility issues ever put a damper or stress on your relationship, or did it only make you stronger?
That could go.
You tooted. It's okay. Real quick, to answer the question, who's the stinky one in the relationship? It's her.
Well, everyone already knows that.
Yeah, that's common knowledge.
That question could definitely go a few different directions. I would say it definitely made our relationship stronger. It definitely put a huge, huge toll and stress on our private, intimate life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Like, just not fun, infertility issues, medication, timing. It's not fun.
I think
mentally, physically.
I think one of the things that it did do is it made us realize that we both handle stressful situations and like grieving differently. And sometimes that can be hard for the other person to understand, is that when you grieve or when you stress, you handle those situations differently. Even with like the miscarriages. Yeah, especially with that stuff, because that's like that's the hardest stuff, is the loss. Yeah, definitely handle things differently. But I feel like we are like together stronger because of it. Oh, totally. Like our relationship is stronger, but there's a whole other side of, there's your relationship and then there's your intimacy, and it totally can affect both of those. I mean, it made some things difficult, but I don't know if it ever put a huge damper on things. I mean, this was a problem that we had to go through, and it didn't tear us apart. Yeah, but I mean, there was definitely like, this sucks. Let's do this together. I've read several like forums on like the infertility pages, and a lot of women are on there that are having that issue, that it's like, my husband just doesn't even get it. And so, but like me and you luckily didn't have that. Right. So there's so many different paths that could go down. How do you guys have time to be romantic with 2 kids? Why don't you take this one? What? I feel like I've been talking a lot. I've been talking a lot too. You start and I'll How do you have time to be romantic with 2 kids? Kids, watch a movie and have some popcorn. Don't bother us for 20 minutes. That's we one do way a lot. For sure, yeah. But honestly, I feel like with our kids at the age that they are, it's relatively easy. I mean, the kids' bedtime is between like 7 and 8 p.m., which is kind of like prime time for us, Oh, yeah. So it's easy right now. But I imagine when the kids get older, it's going to be more difficult. But also, one-on-one time. Yeah, but also they're going to be doing more things.
Have you guys ever been in an argument and couldn't resolve the issue over a couple of days? And what was the hardest decision you guys have ever made while being married? As far as arguments over a couple of days, Jared and I, we really think it's important that is so toxic and bad to be angry, especially for multiple days.
Especially just even overnight.
Not everybody is like this. Not both spouses are more open to just talking it out. And that's okay. Like if that is not how you handle stress or how you handle the relationship, you do what's best for you. The one night we were upset and I went and slept on the couch. It was the only night we've ever done that. And 20 minutes later, Jared came out with a pillow and blanket and laid on the floor. And he said, I didn't marry you to not sleep with you. And we just talked our argument out. I don't even remember what it was. And we went back to bed together. And ever since then, we've never slept apart.
Yeah.
And we really, really feel like it's important that we don't be angry for multiple days because I love you.
Yeah.
I need you.
We're a team.
I get angry. And sometimes we argue. And sometimes the argument lasts a half a day or almost the full day where it's like we are just so annoyed. Like, I can't even look at you, you know? It's like, we have those, but we definitely do not go to bed angry.
Yeah.
Like I don't, it just has happened that way.
Yeah. And
it's worked out that way.
It's something I can't have. Like, I personally, like...
You don't like contention.
Yeah, well, I don't, but I don't like things dragging on. I like to resolve situations quickly and almost to a fault sometimes. It's just like, okay, whatever, you know. And
to stretch on this topic, because you said that, Jared does like to resolve issues right away. And that has actually made us sometimes argue a little bit more.
Yeah, like I said, to a fault sometimes.
And maybe to like inform you a little bit more like situations is Jared does want to resolve it right then and there. And there are times where it's like, I am so like on fire and it's like, okay, I need to sit in my own bubble for just 1 second and I need to calm myself down before I'm able to even talk it out.
Yeah.
And there's been a few times where Jared's like, no, let's talk about it. No, Ellie. And I'm like, no.
Ellie's like, I need space.
Oh, yeah, oh, totally. I'm like, no, give me 5 minutes. I just need 5 minutes just so I don't say anything stupid, just so I don't do anything stupid, just so I can just kind of think.
Process.
Process stuff. So even though we do resolve things fast, there are times where it's like, okay, I flippin' need a break though for just a minute.
Yeah, no, and that's totally true. Every person will handle a situation differently. But I think, and we kind of talked about this today at lunch, I feel like a lot of arguments that are had are because of almost like egos. And I'm not pointing fingers at anyone. This is just something that I feel
I will point a finger.
Maybe, I don't know, but I feel like both people want to be right. And that is what is like the cause of the argument.
Most of them.
Yeah. But a lot of the times the argument is so irrelevant to the situation that the argument is more about who is right rather than solving the issue, compromise.
Totally.
I mean, some of our arguments have been over the dumbest things.
That we can't even remember because it's dumb.
The reason for the argument we can't remember, but we remember the argument itself. A lot of times it just doesn't matter, and it's just like, check your egos at the door and remember that you're a team and remember that you're working together and remember that you have to move forward together. And I feel like if we do that, that itself helps solve a lot of arguments, you know?
Jared is, and I give him this fully, he has helped me, Jared is amazing at taking himself out of the picture and looking at everybody's perspective. And he does this in every situation. And there's been a few times where I'm like, "What? You don't need to be doing that. Why are you helping them? They've been so mean to you.
Think about me. Think about you."
Oh, yeah. And there has been times where I'm like, excuse me, I'm right here. And he really is good to be like, well, look. And he talks about their situation, how they could be feeling, me, my situation, him. Like, he is so good to look at everyone around him I am not that way at all. And I'm slowly becoming better, but I'm not that way. And
well, that's why we make a good team.
And we do. We make a good team.
Yeah.
Jared is really good to look at everybody's scenario. And I feel like that could help a lot of family, friendships. Just be like, okay, there's conflict, but like look at their side too. Even if they're wrong, look at their side for a second and just see where maybe they could be coming from.
Where they're coming from. Yeah, exactly.
Why are you good? I'm not good.
There we go.
He really is. And I give Jared...
Thank you.
I give Jared 30 high fives.
Well, I want to give you one kiss. Tell us more about your date with Julie. Okay, so we say we went on a date. It really wasn't.
It was a date.
It was a date, but it wasn't like, I'm going to ask Julie on a date. And I'm going to take her.
It was a planned date.
Landon and Julie were going to a concert, and he didn't realize that he had family pictures. He had just gotten off his church mission after 2 years. So he went to go do family pictures, and he's like, well, we're going to be hanging out afterwards anyway. Why don't you and Julie go to this concert, which was like on college campus, so it was like in the afternoon. And so Julie and I went to this concert and we just had fun. It was Ryan Shoup and the Rubber Band.
So it wasn't like a date, but it was like they hung out.
But I will say, we did hold hands.
To be cute.
Just to say that we're like, wouldn't it be funny if? And we did.
Yeah.
And we just like as a joke to Landon. That's it.
It was fun.
It was fun.
Fun and games.
Julie and I were born in the same year. So we're like same
Good
age,
friends.
graduated the same year, yeah. Do you truly think there's someone out there for everyone? I think that there's not one person for someone. I feel like you could be married to a lot of different people, but we just probably don't meet them and develop the relationships with them. Do you know what I mean?
Are you reading my mind? I remember my dad telling me this, and so I don't know if I think this because I've heard it a few times from my dad, or if it's because I think it. I believe it as well. But I remember my dad saying, you can love everyone. You can choose to love someone. And so I don't feel like there is your soulmate out there. I feel like if someone is willing to love you and you're willing to love them, you can make it work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely think that there's compatibility. Yeah. You're more compatible with a few people than you are with a lot of people. So while it may not be like, oh, well, you could marry anyone in the world, it's like maybe you have like this group of compatibility, but I don't think you have one soulmate, and if you don't find that one soulmate, you're in trouble. Yeah. That's what I mean by that.
And I agree.
Yeah.
So, amen.
But I think Ellie's pretty great.
But I do believe you can choose to love people. And
absolutely.
It's like, even just, not in like deep love, but like, even like grocery stores or out and about, it's like, you can choose to like people. You can choose to be nice. You can choose to love someone. And
it's a fun game to try and find something that you like about a complete stranger without going up to them, without knowing them. Find one thing that you like about someone. I challenge you right now. Like, seriously, what do you like about me? Tell me. Name 3 things you like about me.
I like your blue eyes.
Oh, thanks.
I like how nice you are to people. And I like that you rub my back at night.
What is the main core of having a healthy marriage?
This is so hard.
Yeah, I mean, 4 cores and 7 years ago. No,
what's the main core of having a healthy marriage?
I think there's so many different things to it. But if I were to think of like in Jared's book, what goes into a good healthy marriage?
We're basing this on us.
Yeah, and we're not
advice
perfect.
to people.
Yeah.
So this is more like, this is what's healthy for us.
Mm-hmm. So in our marriage, what do you think has been like the best? Communication. We're doing a good job communicating now.
We don't know what it is. Yeah. I feel like with Jared and I, the reason why things go as smooth as they have been is because our main core has been, we believe the same things with God. Yeah.
Our morals are in line.
I feel like it just comes down to we believe that there's a God, and that if we hold tight to Him and each other, like things will work out. And
absolutely,
I feel like that's what's helped me and you the most.
Religion is a huge part of our life and our marriage. We haven't dove into that a ton, but a lot of people know what we believe, and it is part of it. We believe that families are together forever, and that's a huge part about our family, siblings and extended family, and us and our family with our kids. So those moral values are a huge part to us.
And that is why we are who we are,
Absolutely.
It's like in our blood in a way. It's like, it's just the way of life for us.
I think wanting to be better people for our spouse, like I want to be a better person for you is another thing too. Like I want to constantly improve myself so our marriage is better is another thing,
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
And I think that's very true. You do that.
You do you, boo. Oh, Aspen over. Okay, do you like to touch Ellie's butt? Well, if you see in our Amazon video, I couldn't get enough of it.
Oh
so
my gosh.
I think yes, but I think
Jared
even
touches
more,
my butt a lot, actually. Like if there's anything, like if we're just around the house, if he's always like, hey, and
good
pats
game.
my butt.
Good game.
Yeah.
No, and that's, physical touch in a relationship I think is important. I think when we talked about love languages, that's my love language is physical touch. Yours is like, that was like third
Active
for
service.
you. Yeah, physical touch was like third for you.
I like my back to be rubbed.
Yeah, so I like to touch Ellie's butt, and Ellie likes me to touch her back. Thanks for the question, Aspen.
How do you make it a priority to devote time to your marriage rather than just as parents? This is a hard struggle in my household. We seem to forget we're married, not just parents.
Having a set date night is one of the best ways that you can do that. We don't do a good job at that,
We're
but
really
we want
bad
to.
at that.
Like we always want to. And whether it's an elaborate date night with you and your spouse, a double date, or even just like we mentioned earlier, bath time with a snack and a drink, that's a great time to do that. And that's simple and quick, but it's very effective in terms of cultivating and developing your relationship as a couple.
Totally. This is a really hard question. This is something that Jared and I probably struggle the most with is our time with parent and work and then us.
Yeah.
And especially with us, it's all in one. Like in our home, we work in home, we parent in the home, and then it's like us together. It's like we see each other during the day, but it's not always like really good, solid
business,
one-on-one.
That's when in the daytime we're all about business.
And so that's very hard for Jared and I, and it is something that we struggle with and that we're trying. And there's often times where we just have to tell each other, or one of us has to say, like, we're done.
Yep. It's usually Ellie.
It's
that
9
says that.
o'clock, and I can't anymore today. Like, my brain is done. My emotions are sweat from all day, taking care of the kids, cleaning. Like, I need you to just sit with me. And that is something that we are really trying to work on, especially probably the last 6 months. Like, we've had 2 miscarriages.
Aww.
That's something that Jared and I are definitely trying to work on. And it's like, we always talk about, like, before we had kids, it's like, every flippin' day was a date night. Like, he got home from work, and then we didn't have to think about anything.
Yeah.
But now it's like, we have kids to put to bed. Like, we have, like...
And a video to edit.
Yeah, we have, like, other priorities, like, even after work. And so, it is something that it's an everyday, like, some days... And that's what's beautiful, too, about what we do, though. Is, like, some days it is, like, all work one day, but then the next, it is all, like...
Family.
Family. So there's pros and cons to everybody's situations, but I think that that's really important for husbands and wives to say no and to have one-on-one time.
And date each other.
Totally. Yeah. And we're learning. Yeah. We're still learning.
It'll be 8 years, and that's the thing is, like, you always have to be educating and improving and working hard at it. It's not something that you just master and you're done. It's something that you're always constantly working on.
Which, do you feel like now that you've been married, and even when we first got married, that you were like a little like, oh, it's not like that? Like, I remember being a little girl looking at my parents and thinking, once you're married, like, you're set. I used to think that.
Yeah.
I was because I looked at my parents, and my parents never fought. Like, I remember my parents having disagreements, but never were they yelling. Never did my dad hit my mom. Like, never, like, it was just, oh, that's life. Like, they're happy. And so when I got married, I was like, what
What's wrong with Jared?
You know, my parents did have those issues. They handled them in different ways than some other people. And yeah.
Yeah, it's just a constant evolution. And because life changes, situation changes, and that means your relationship changes.
I was 18 and now I'm coming up on 27. It's like I myself have changed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we're doing this too, because we learn from doing these Q&As just as much as someone might be able to take a snippet.
It's good to talk it out.
I have to fart.
See, I'm not the only stinky one. You better keep that in.
No way!
You keep mine all the time in. You will keep that in.
We'll see.
He does that. Sometimes he makes me look bad. I'm like, Jared.
How do you share your feelings and struggles with each other? Do you ever feel scared to talk about how you feel?
Yes.
I feel like I used to, but I feel like I've gotten a lot better at it. When we first got married, I was scared and almost embarrassed to talk about finances.
And I didn't think he was. And see, this is why I went back to, I wish I would have detailed talk about things before we got married. I remember being married like 2 months and I was looking at the account for something. I kept seeing like transactions and I'm like, we should probably like have a food budget. Like there was a lot of Taco Bell going on, you know, for both of us. And so I remember you were in that pink chair.
Yep.
And I was like, hey, Jared, like, I think we should. And I had a book written out of like some things. I was like, we should figure out like how much is our income. Let's figure out our budget.
Like any couple should do. If you don't have a budget, you should do it.
But I had never seen Jared react this way ever in our relationship. And then the 2 months of being married. And I seriously was like,
I just put up a wall. I put up a wall and I didn't want to talk about it. Yeah. And
he just was like, he's like, no. I'm like, what?
And part of the reason, I won't go into it too deep, but like...
It was personal.
It was personal. And my parents didn't talk about finances with the kids. And so I didn't talk about finances with really anyone else. And so that's just kind of how it just translated over. But as soon as we did, and as soon as we were on the same page with it, oh my gosh, the weight it lifted from our shoulders was amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there were definitely times that we're scared to talk about feelings, but I feel like that just like our relationship has developed, so has the ability to share and express those feelings.
Yeah. I remember something that helped us get into that financial thing, and whether you agree with everything he says or not, it's good just to listen to, because some of it is common sense, is Dave Ramsey. And not just read his book, listen. Because Jared laughed so much. He would come home from school and they would be playing and he would be laughing because he's funny.
Yeah, and motivational. Like he makes you want to do good, you know.
So that helped us a lot, is like listening to finance stuff together.
Well, this is a great way to segue into this topic a little bit deeper. The next question says, I noticed in some of your earlier videos you mentioned budgeting. What does your budgeting look like? I feel like money is one of the hardest things to combat in a marriage, and just wondering how you recommend tackling it. Well, like we mentioned before, we use the Dave Ramsey envelope system. So essentially what we do is we spend our money on paper, on purpose, before the month even happens.
So we think, what are we gonna make? What did we actually make? What is our expenses? What's left over? Where can we put that? Could it be in a car fund, a house fund, savings,
retirement,
a school loan if you have one, type of stuff.
Finances can be a touchy subject, but I feel like when you have that information, you have power. If you're kind of just going by the seat of your pants, then
it gets spent.
Yeah.
If you don't plan it, it gets spent.
Yeah.
And even if you're not a spender, like somehow it's like, where did it go? Like, I feel like it's really important that not one person does it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that's how it works for them. And if you're okay with that, by all means do that.
Do what works for you.
I feel like that's almost like intimacy, finances, like that, those are two huge parts of marriages, and I feel like you need to be on the same page. With intimacy, you really, really should be on the same page with finances too, or know where things are going and feel comfortable spending the money, you know. And I mean, I know we talk about Dave Ramsey a lot, but like it's kind of just common sense.
It really is. He says it's like the grandmother's way of finances. And it's true, but it works. Yeah. And there's so many different ways that you can go about it, but it's just simple and everyone can understand it. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess just for the sake, we'll have his website linked in the description down below for information. He has a radio show, you know, so it's just fun to listen to. Yeah, just check it out. It's not going to hurt you to listen. It won't. Okay.
I really like this one, especially for Jared and I, because we really did get married so young. Did you ever feel rushed to get married? I'm 23. My boyfriend and I have dated for 7 years. I love it and would also love to get married, but I'm in no rush to do so. We talk about marriage all the time and know it will happen eventually. How did you know when the right time was? And I really want to answer this because we were really young. I remember going into JCPenney's and I was trying on a dress. It was like for something to do with the wedding. This was the first time that somebody in public, like a stranger, was like, what? Like, she's like, how old are you? I mean, I still look like I'm 15. And I walked out of the store feeling really weird because she was like, you're getting married so young. You have your whole life. And I just thought, but I know what I want, and I found it, and I want it, and I don't want to let it go. I not for a second felt rushed with my parents, didn't feel rushed with religion, and that's the thing is like, whatever decision you make, that's your decision. Even if you do feel rushed by someone, like at the end of the day, you made that decision to get married. So I don't know if you could say like you were rushed because you made that decision.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel rushed whatsoever.
And neither did I. I mean, this was a decision that we made, and we took the time that we wanted for our engagement, for our wedding and everything. And there was no rushing there. It just, you know, it felt right. And I feel like
it was smooth. Like there was arguments. There wasn't many arguments. It wasn't like
it wasn't the type of arguments that would like make
it wasn't like red flags everywhere. It was like we grew, and I think the reason why it went so smooth is because we both grew up almost the same way. Yeah. And we both thought the same things, and that really helped us.
The thing about like other people saying, well, don't you want to live life and experience it?
There's pros and cons.
There are, but the same time it's like, well, I want to experience that with my wife. I want to experience that with my family. My wife is my best friend. Why not go on these adventures with my wife and my best friend, you know?
I look at it two ways. If we were to have waited or whatever, and I got married right now at my age, I would be a completely different newlywed wife. Completely. And that could be a lot. That could be like a big pro. I really enjoyed that we got married when we were in college, like because we learned to struggle together. We learned to get by with very, very little money. Yeah. We learned together, you know, and
we've gone through the best and the worst together. Yeah. And so I think that,
and you still will go through bad times and good times, even if you get married later in life. You know?
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong.
And this isn't like I say, like you need to get married young. No, you need to get married when you feel it's right for you and your partner.
And there shouldn't be a rush.
Yeah.
There shouldn't. As a wife and mother of two, legitimately wanting to know how to keep the love alive, I just like your advice. Sorry if my original post offended you.
Oh, we didn't delete it.
I didn't delete it, I promise you.
How to keep the love
spice alive. Let's really think about that one.
How to keep the love alive.
To me, it's being goofy. And I feel like the vlogs don't really capture that a lot because sometimes it's like, she's a freak.
well, it's also because it's so spontaneous that it's wait, let me get the camera, start over.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's just like you just roll it.
I think to me, keeping it spunky, spicy is totally being goofy. Like some funny things, just like being in the shower and like just being dumb.
Wait,
and,
you laugh in the shower?
This is gonna go the wrong way. Like
I know what you're trying to say, like, but when you're laughing together, you're enjoying each other's company, you're just having a good time together, you're being goofy
and
with
not
each
being
other.
so serious.
Yeah.
I think sexual jokes are really funny. They're hilarious. They always make me laugh.
Yeah.
And that's that. I always say stuff that's really funny and sometimes like borderline, like you probably shouldn't have said that. And that makes us laugh, and it like lightens the mood.
Yeah, and
so
yeah.
if your humor is not that way, maybe don't go that route. But to me, if I can make a sexual joke and make them laugh, like that makes my day.
Then it's spicy for sure. Again, I think it goes back to the communication, the dating your spouse, all of the things that we've kind of talked back before. Apply that to your relationship and see what works for you and your spouse. How important do you think physical contact, hugs, cuddling is to a relationship? Obviously, emotional connection is more important, but should you go out of your way to give your partner that physical affection? I think this goes to the love languages. There's this love language book. I mean, it's not like...
I do think that's important.
Yeah.
That would have been fun to do before we got
I think you should do it. I don't think it's like...
crucial.
Yeah, it's not imperative, but it would be eye-opening for some people as far as learning about their spouse and even learning about yourself. I like physical touch and not even just like sexual, but I like to cuddle, I like to hold hands, I like to hug.
If we have an argument, the first thing Jared does is, "Oh, Ellie."
Like, I just want to hug.
And the first thing I do is like,
"Give me space."
Yeah, the first thing I say is, "Not yet, let's talk this out." Like,
yeah.
I'm a little mad. I don't want to hug when I'm mad. I want to hug you when I'm happy. So
yeah.
That's usually how it goes down.
Yeah, but I feel like physical touch in the right times, in the right places...
Right places. Don't grab her boobs in public.
Not that in the right places. I mean, like in the right times and not physical places.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you're putting down.
What is that, Freudian slip? I don't know if that's a Freudian slip, but I think it's important to identify what kind of love language your partner has to give that to them instead of just physical touch, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I do think it's important. Like, it's sad at the end of the day where it's like, did we even like look at each other in the eye? That is a big deal. It's even just looking at each other and talking. Because how often are the kids around and we're talking to the kids and we're talking and we've had a good day, but did we even really like look at each other? Because sometimes you say things to your spouse and it's like, that's your spouse you're talking to. And sometimes like, it's not, I don't look at you as just a spouse. It's like, yeah, we're living together, you're my friend, I'm just gonna say it. Like, sometimes we could be better at like, you have your feelings and emotions, and we could be better at talking nicer. Like, you get in the habit of saying, oh, go grab me that. Well, no, please. Like, so I think it's really important to just look at each other in the eye
and think of the other person's emotions, like you said. It's great to take yourself out of that. And I have a lot of fault
in that.
Yeah, it's great to take yourself out of the situation and observe it from both sides. So there's this comedian, and he has this joke, and I'm not sure if it's like appropriate or anything, but I feel like in my head the analogy works. He says like, I don't understand spouses like getting so mad at each other that they do things to each other. It's not right. He's like, that's like keying your own car. You would not key your own car. Like, that's your spouse. That's your car. You would not do that thing. But it is kind of true. It's just like, you have to remember like, that's my wife, or that's my husband. That's my best friend. Why would I do those things to hurt you?
Sometimes you hurt the ones you love the most.
Yeah. That's deep.
You do. Not always, sometimes. Like, you usually do. Like, sometimes you say things and it's like, why did you do that?
Yeah. And that's why I think
it is important to have the physical contact and
Forgiveness is another thing that I think is really important that a lot of people don't fully take into consideration. Is like, we all make mistakes. We're human. Like,
every day.
Yeah.
For the rest of our lives, we are going to be working on this.
And we need to remember that when we go about these things. And I mean, there's a line to certain things, but I'm talking in general. We make mistakes, and when you can take these mistakes that you're both making together and come to be better people from those mistakes, the trials that you go through don't define you. The trials that you overcome define you. If you can overcome those mistakes and those trials, then you'll be better people for it. And better relationships.
And I don't know if this is going to make sense. You could cut it out if you want, but I'm just like thinking with you saying that, it's like when you get married, it's not perfect, and it never is. And we do make mistakes. And in a way, I'm relating that to church. It's like, we don't go to church because we're perfect. We don't go to church because we're like, we go to church because we're trying.
Yeah.
And we go to church because it helps me remember why I'm going to church, is to be better to people, to be better to myself, to be better to my spouse. And in a way, I relate those two, because it's like, you make mistakes, and that's what church is for. I make mistakes, but that's what our marriage is for.
Yeah.
Is I made a mistake, and I need to lean on you. You know?
That's another really good point that I've talked a lot about in the vlogs, but I haven't said it here, is like, having a spouse is so wonderful when you can depend on them to lean on when you need it. And it's almost like a teeter, like a balance thing. When I'm feeling up high and Ellie's not, like, I want to be there for her, so I'm going to be the support that she needs to bring her back up. And vice versa. You know, I
think it's very important to let the other person vent. The other day, Penny had jumped on the desk.
Gosh.
She got milk everywhere. It was a hot dang mess.
I have a lot of equipment in my office.
It was a hot mess, and Jared was really mad, and I walked in the office, and I was like, Jared, like, because in my head, it's like, we'll clean it up, it's okay. And he's like, Ellie, I need to vent. And in that moment, I thought, I'm going to shut up. and I let you be mad for a minute. And it's like, you should be.
And I cleaned up the mess, and as soon as everything was taken care of,
he walked out of the office. He's like, "How are you?" And I'm like, "I'm good."
That's exactly how it happened too.
And it was,
like, I was
really
so bubbly
funny.
and
I was
happy.
like, "He's so dang bubbly." But I think that's another thing that's important, is don't be upset if your other spouse is upset. Like, let them vent, let them talk. Sometimes it's not always soft-spoken angry.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes they are upset, like, and raising their voice. Like, hear them out, and then you be the one to be calm to talk about it. And then hopefully next time when you're upset, hopefully they'll be calm to talk it out.
I feel like
it's a learning.
Yeah, when something that Ellie and I have been doing and working hard at is when we do have arguments, we take the time to calm ourselves, so we're talking in this manner right here rather than yelling at each other. And that helps a ton. Is if you're just talking to me without raising your voice, and I'm talking to you without getting mad or angry,
things resolve easy.
That's
hard to do with kids. During the day, sometimes that's really hard when it's like, you've got two kids running around, they are crying, they're whining, someone just broke a dish, the dog just jumped on the couch, the dog just knocked Calvin over, like, and it's like, knock it off! Like, sometimes it's hard to be that calm person, and that's normal. It's just life.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need to just take a big flippin' breather.
Well, and honestly, that is a huge help. And it's funny, like on the Apple Watch, they have that breathe app. That helps me a ton. To just goose frog.
I would say even in the last like 3 months, like with our miscarriages and stuff, like I feel like it has made me grow a little bit. My sister's like, it changes who you are within. And I'm like, I believe I have changed. Like, I have been giving myself my time, like in the mornings, and the kids have been pretty good to adapt to it. Like, I'm like, and I tell them, I say, it's mommy time right now. Like, I'm just sitting. I'm like, I'm not getting up. I'm going to sit here for like 30 minutes and just sit, and then sometimes meditate. They run wild and break a dish, and I just don't care for a minute, and I just need to just be.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing with all of this is some things are going to work for some of you, and some things are going to work for others. This is just us essentially just talking, having a conversation. We're not professionals. We're not perfect. We make mistakes, and these are just some things that have worked for us and that we enjoy, and hopefully that some piece here and there can help some of you. And that's why we wanted to do it. And
I feel like last but not least, like if it doesn't come that smoothly, like with you or your spouse, like you're not wrong. Things aren't, that's okay, and that's normal. And I talked about this already in another video, but I feel like counseling is not a bad thing. To have another person, or even like a parent, if you really love and trust like your parents, like how many times have me and you had conversations with your parents, and it's like, oh, we've been fighting a lot lately. We had that conversation with your dad like a year ago. How many times have we've been talking to my parents, and we've talked about situations and we've got their advice.
Together, we have done that. Yeah. Not like one-on-one, essentially.
Yeah.
We've gone to our parents.
And just asked questions. Like, oh, what did you do for this? And then you realize, like, oh, my parents aren't perfect. And it's like, because nobody is.
And they've gone through those similar things.
Because no one is perfect.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed talking it out.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, I enjoyed it because, like, even just sitting here talking, like, I feel like we've learned and grown together. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, like, Jared and I, we do pray together. We did say a prayer before this video, like, to, like, help us feel at peace and, like, talk openly. And I really feel like that helped. Like, I like praying with Jared. And I feel like that helps sometimes too. Sometimes Jared says, we should say a prayer. And I'm like, no. You say it. He's laughing because it's so true.
Because it's true. Yeah. No, but
it does help. I truly feel like it does.
Yeah, absolutely, it does, and that's just a part of our relationship. It really is. It's a part of our relationship.
I'm a Debbie Downer.
And it may not be everyone's part, but it has helped us, and we're grateful for it, and we wouldn't have it any other way. This is a learning experience. Yeah, thank you for your questions. We're here to learn and grow right alongside with you. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a smile out of, whether it's Ellie farting or me. You farted too, and you better keep that in. Shoot! You have to. But this video is getting too long as it is. Thank you for the questions. We'll do this again another time, and maybe we'll podcast it up or something. Yeah. I don't know. But have a wonderful day. Go hug your spouse, hug your kids, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye. One day at a time. Yeah. Time after time.